I saw a post today from John Hope Bryant, and he said behind every successful man is an exhausted woman. And that was hilarious to me because it's a lot of truth to that. And I know on social media, every woman say they want a successful man, and there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know. Well, I'm not gonna say I don't know. I'm positive that most women not equipped to deal with that, and I'm gonna explain why. Social media will lead you to believe that, dealing with a successful man, you just gonna be resting, shopping, traveling, and just spending a bunch of money all the time. And that's a part of it. I'm not saying those things never happen, but that's only a small part of it. The truth is, being with a successful man, right, it's gonna be a lot of pressure because it's gonna demand a lot out of you. It's gonna be a different level of requirement and a standard, especially if y'all got children, because he's gonna want you to raise his children a specific way. But even if y'all don't have children, he's going to be a workaholic. And it'll be many times where you'll question whether you are a priority in his life because he's going to be working so much, you're going to feel like you're on the back burner. And he'll expect you to carry yourself a certain way because you're a representation of him. And being in those circles, you judge by the women that you with. So you can't have partners, potential clients, active clients, competitors, not seeing your house be aligned or in line. And like I said, there's gonna be a lot of things that he's just going to be demanding from you, whether it's with your health and staying in shape, or not being around certain people or in certain crowds, the way you dress. And like I said, he'll more than likely always be working. So if you don't know how to handle with being by yourself or not being with him for extended periods of time, it just won't work. And like I said, it's a lot of demand that comes with that. It's just not no simple, easy walk in the park. You can ask any woman that's seriously dating a successful man. And I'm not talking about entertainers or athletes because that's different. I'm talking about a man that truly uses majority of his brain power and skill set to make his money. That man is usually a completely different man than an entertainer or an athlete. Even though this could apply to entertainers and athletes too, because they're also usually always working. But they have off seasons. That's the thing. And business owners, men that's using their brain to work, there's no off season. This goes on. This goes on forever. So there'll be periods of time, like I said, where you might not be seeing you might see your man rarely. And another thing I can add is you also gonna need some intelligence about yourself because that man, he's gonna want to be mentally stimulated. So he's not gonna care about what's happening on the shade room, what's happening in baddies, what's happening within pop culture. So you're gonna need to stay mentally afloat and constantly be learning these new things so you can have conversation with this man. And so you can also educate his children because more than likely he's going to require you to homeschool them. So at the end of the day, like I'm saying, most of y'all would do better if y'all just got with, I don't want to say a regular guy because I don't want to seem like I'm disrespecting people, but that's what it is. Because that guy's not going to have a bunch of demands for y'all that y'all could actually meet. Because I'm just being real, majority of people do not have the skills, the willpower, the softness, the mental strength to deal with a successful man. Because it's not all just roses, vacations, and a bunch of shopping. It's a whole bunch of other stuff that comes with it.
Man, shout out to the content creator. He cooked on this. He cooked. Here's what I want to put, man, in this with my 10 cent, right? Number one, it's not only quote unquote successful men, right? A successful man in the sense of what I think he was referring to somebody who's really financially off. But also there's very disciplined men, right? And I think very disciplined men are successful men as well because it still requires women to be able to somehow fold themselves in that man's life where all those things that he mentioned is at play as well. So let me show you. Let me break down what I mean. Right, a very disciplined man who is going to be a successful man or who already is a successful man off rip, they're disciplined with their time. That's number one. They know from when they wake up to when they lay down for bed what they're doing hour by hour, minute by minute. They know exactly what they're doing. And so when it comes to, him moving a certain way, the woman has to understand how to fit herself inside of that time frame, right? From morning to night. And he basically would have that set up as far as his standards. You see what I'm saying? And that's the same thing when it comes to the discipline, when it comes to the physical side of him, like working out and stuff. He's gonna want his wife to look a certain way as well. He's gonna want his wife to live a certain lifestyle, to be cultured in that lifestyle, right? To be able to speak inside of that lifestyle. And one thing he said was, you know, she has to be a part of that brand. That's something that I've always preached. As the man in your household, you create a brand. So no matter if they see you, they see her, it's one and the same. Y'all represent what y'all represent together. So when people see y'all, it's like, oh, okay, we understand who these people are. You follow me? And all that comes from what he said is a successful man. All this is same in the same token as a disciplined man. He's gonna want his kids to not eat unhealthy. He's gonna want his kids to be educated a certain way, right? He's gonna value certain things. He's not gonna go for the shenanigans as far as always what's going on in pop culture and things like that, right? So he's absolutely right when he says, hey, that woman has to be intelligent as well. And not only with the smarts, but the emotional intelligence. Because when he's not always around, he's moving a certain way. A lot of women may be like, man, this dude cheating on me. And that's not the case. He's actually putting in work to provide for that household. And if you as his wife or his woman, you have to be emotionally secure with that. That, man, he's not here, he cheating. He actually putting in work. He's setting us up for the right position, putting our family first, building the future for us, and so on and so forth. Right? So it's all congruent. It's all pieced together. There's a spider web to it. So again, I think what he said was a successful man, but a disciplined man in my eyes is a successful man. It doesn't always have to be about the money. And one thing he said was in the very, very, very beginning was a lot of women is looking for just a quote unquote the soft life. When you're dealing with a successful man or a very disciplined man, it comes with a lot. They require a lot from you, right? And so, yeah, like he said, that's a part of it. You get to reap the benefits of quote unquote a part of a soft life. But when that man moving and shaking, yeah, you're gonna be exhausted behind him because it requires a lot, but you get the benefit of it. You see what I'm saying? Versus quote unquote an average person, there's not a lot of expectation, right? There's not a lot of but you don't get a lot of soft life. You might not get a vacation, but every so many years. You know, with a quote unquote average man, but a successful man, you might go on vacation every 3 months. Shit, every month maybe. You see what I'm saying? But you're gonna put in a lot of work to help maintain that lifestyle. If he's away working and things, the house has to be on point. The kids have to be on point. You have to be on point because at that point y'all holding a brand, y'all holding a lifestyle and a viewpoint from what he expect. So man, he said a lot. I could even go deeper into this, but he said a whole lot. One thing I do want to say before I leave though, when you talk about these particular women who behind successful men, you know, one person come to mind is Michelle, right? I believe that, yeah, man, I don't believe Barack would have got in there without her. That's my personal opinion. I think she's highly intelligent. You know, I think she is what I would say is like the strong woman behind the man. Like, and she on point. No matter what y'all think about it when it comes to not even bringing politics in there, I'm just bringing the relationship aspect into it from what I see. And I can go down the list. I used to be like Will and Jada, but I don't know. I guess they still rocking together, but one person that like first and foremost come to mind is definitely Michelle and Barack. But Michelle, bruh, whew, she tough, man, but she on point. You know what I'm saying? So that's who I see pushing, holding it down when he's talking about that particular exhausted woman. Because trust me, she was exhausted. She had a mini podcast when she talked about how much work she had to put in behind the scenes just to maintain their relationship between her and Barack and the household. You know, I mean, obviously she ain't cleaned up the White House and stuff, but if she had her own house, which they do, I'm sure if they was quote unquote living regular without having the money to pay maids and stuff like that, she would do that too. But also even with the kids, you know, even with her daughters, like that's still a relationship she has to cultivate. and make sure they on point, because we're raw all around the world. I mean, I'm sure it's a phone call we can check on. It's not the same though when you there in there in front of them, putting your hands on them, as far as, you know, a hand throw away. It's different, man. So she held down a lot, but she was very intelligent too. She knew how to move based on their lifestyle and what was going on. So that's the prototypical person I think about when he talk about a successful woman behind, you know, every man. So, but anyway, what y'all think about that? If you got any value from this video, hit the like button, subscribe, and share this video off for anybody who may need to hear this message, because I'm sure there's a lot of women out there who may need to hear this message and hear the difference on how he articulated it between quote unquote a regular woman in a regular relationship versus a successful relationship. And again, obviously there's nuance in everything, right? Ain't nothing matter of fact, but I think this was very well articulated in a sense to be able to define the difference and what comes with it. When we talk about successful men and women who are with successful men. So with that being said, again, I appreciate y'all. Much love. Peace.